I'm ready now.
Okay, sweet. So our project is, we're hoping to collect stories about lending services in Cincinnati and get people's stories in the hopes of, in some way, putting those stories out there and having a positive impact. So in terms of what your experiences have been with, our focus has been primarily on check cashing places, payday loan institutions, and pawn shops, although as the project has continued, we've gone into other realms too. What your experiences have been. So maybe if you'd be willing to tell us if you've had positive or negative experiences, and maybe just starting with the first time you first time maybe you borrowed money, and if you have ever used a payday loan service, what that experience was like.
Okay, well, the experience for me was a little, I would say it was cool. I just don't like the long process of, getting a loan. Just the fact of being able to get a loan is cool, but I don't like the fact that when you do get a loan that you have to pay a little bit more percentage to get, the loan maybe again. And I don't like the fact that, when you do take out a loan, that they want the money back as possible, as fast as you can get it, maybe the first or the third of the month, even though you may have took out a loan on the 22nd, so I don't really like that part. But as far as being able to, get a loan, it's fine. It's just a long process, from my experience, so.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you've used loans in the past and what circumstances?
Well, yeah, I guess I could. I've used a loan, for plenty of reasons, bills, extra money maybe just to get certain little things, and
such as
appliances, surround sound speakers, and different little things like that. If but I don't know. For right now, that's about as much as I can say. That if I get a little bit more, I'll speak a little bit more about it. But as far as the loan process, like I said, it's a good idea that people are able to get loans. I just don't like the fact that they want the money right back. Just it's like as soon as possible, and I don't like the fact that you do have to pay, a certain amount of money extra, back.
So what happens if you can't get the money back in that period of time?
Well, what happens if it's less than 30 days, it's really not an issue. But if it's longer than 30 days, the interest rate does grow tremendously. So, it could be $35 and turn around and be $80, so I guess that's a real big problem for people who can't pay the loan back right away, that the interest grows even higher. So that's a big issue as well.
Have you ever had trouble paying it back in time?
No, I've never had problems paying it back on time.
Yeah, mine was a little different. I had a bad experience, like all the way around. First, it really wasn't like a actual store you went to. It was like a website. I know, like when I first tried to get it, they told me that I had to. They had to call my job, but they couldn't get in touch with anybody, so they asked me to like fax employment verification. So then I had to go and get that, then fax that. I mean, it was only for like $200, but still. And then afterwards, after like paying it back, it was like a whole thing with that. So yeah, that was pretty bad.
Are you comfortable telling us what you used it for?
Yeah. It was like maybe 2.5 years ago. A friend of mine was in like a little jail, and she needed somebody to help her out. So I told her that I would help her out. But then when I looked into my account, like I realized that I really didn't get paid to the next week. So like I just took out a loan to, you know, kind of just help her. She had got into it with her mom. Her mom kicked her out. So I told her that, you know, I could help her until she get back on her feet. And we was both young. I think I was like 19 at the time. She was like 18. So I was just trying to be a friend, be there for her. So yeah, I took out the $200 and everything was good with that. After I sent over my employment verification, everything was good, but it really didn't start like becoming a problem until it came to actually like paying the loan back. And since it was like really my first time, I really didn't know anything about it or how it worked. So when I called the people, they told me that I can do what they call like a loan extension. And the loan extension was like for like $55. So I was like, okay, like I can do a loan extension. So I did the loan extension. Then the next week, I didn't like hear anything back from them, but they automatically took $55 out of my account. So I was like, okay, well I guess that's going back to paying back the loan. And that happened like 3 more times, a total of like, I think it was like $165. And I think I was going out of town. And something told me to actually like check to see, because I thought I only owed like another like 50-some bucks. So something told me to check. So I went online and I checked, and they said that I still owed the whole amount in full. So I'm like, okay, like what's going on? So I called them, and they told me that the only thing they was doing was like re-extending the loan. But then they told me that I can actually start paying the loan by paying, I think it was actually like the same amount, which was like $55. So I'm like, well, if that was the case, like why didn't you just tell me that in the first place? I wouldn't even know what did the extension. I would have just started paying off the loan.
Yeah.
So
you felt like they tricked you, kind of?
pretty much.
Was that the only time you've ever used?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that, and that was the first time, so if that was the only time, that was the first time, how did you know you could, that was an option?
A friend told me.
Do you remember what that conversation was like when your friend told you?
Yeah, I do. Because I asked him, I was like, man, like I don't want to just, because like I think like 2 weeks before, like me and a friend, the person I was actually using the loan for, like we kind of had a heart-to-heart. And then when I was talking to my friend, which is now my roommate, he was telling me like, well, like, you can't just have like a heart-to-heart with this person and then just like, and when she's in her time of need, to just be like, okay, like good luck. So I was trying to figure out a way to actually like help. So he was telling me like, well, you know, you can always do like a little quick little loan and then like just pay it back. So yeah, that was pretty much it. It really wasn't like a long conversation.
And how did you get introduced to payday loans?
Through a friend.
Through a friend as well?
Yeah. Just basically telling me about, because usually when I am in need for a little money, I usually just run to like a family member or something. So, the friend was just telling me, instead of always running to a family member, certain things you can go about doing yourself. So that's how I was introduced to the loan, which is, like I said,